Welcome to the second installment of my Nuka campaign, settlement campaign. If you've survived the first installment, I thank you, and I'm sorry for what I've done there. I'm hoping that you'll see an improvement in this one. I know I learned a lot from the first one, and I know there's a lot of things missing from it, and I'm hoping that I've put most of those into this one. So thank you, and I hope that you find this one hopefully more to your liking. But again, please leave any comments below. I would be really grateful on that. Anyway, here is the next installment, and this is called The Trail Goes Cola. The clues have led Nuka Girl and her team to this house, which belonged to a Nuka Cola executive named Vincent Jones. It turns out he's had clandestine dealings with Nuka Cola's competition, Vim. It appears Vincent allowed Vim operatives to steal vital equipment necessary for the Nuka Cola vault to function. Unfortunately, the house is still occupied by its former owners. So the scenario rules here is Nuka Girl's team need to successfully hack the computer that's inside the house to obtain the next piece of the mystery to the failing vault. The game will go for 6 rounds. Obviously a major victory for Nuka Girl and her team is that they hack the computer and get the information. If they failing that, a minor victory at the end of 6 turns will be for the enemy killed. Obviously for the ghouls, stopping Nuka Girl and her team from hacking the computer is a minor victory in this case, but killing Nuka Girl and her team is a major victory. The special rules. A successful computer check on the terminal will reveal a special password that must be entered. The password is in a safe. Once the safe has been successfully picked, another computer skill test with a -4 must be made for victory. So they need to hack the computer to get a safe password. Then once they've opened the safe, they will then get another password which will get into the special files. The ghouls, and there are some red roaches there as well, they're around the house. Basically they start in and around the house, basically red, no closer than red distance apart from each other. If they are outside the normal awareness, then they can only engage if they make a successful perception test at double the awareness range. The special rule for the terminal is that it cannot be accessed if the model that's at the terminal is engaged with an enemy model. So battlefield setup, ideally if you have a safe and a computer terminal, then that is what you need, but if you just use a token to replace that if necessary, having a 2-story house would be ideal, as you can put the computer upstairs and the safe downstairs, but failing that, if you can make them red distance apart. The ghouls, there's the same amount of points. Actually, no, I apologize. There's actually 100 points extra than the Nuka team. So I've got 500 points of ghouls and 100 points of red roaches on the table, so it's 600 points. One of the ghouls should be either well, I've made it a bloated glowing one. This is to represent Vincent Jones. Yeah, and the initial placement, you can split the force, your survivors forces if you wish, in the blue and red deployment zones. As I said earlier, the ghouls and the red roaches are set up randomly within, well, no closer than red between them, around the house and in the house. So our settlers are up against a bloated, glowing one, who is Vincent Jones. There are 5 feral ghouls who are his family members, scattered around the house, in and out of sight of the house, and there are 4 stands of red roach swarms. So that's roughly about 600 points. I forgot to take a photo of the Nuka team, but they're all the same. So we have Nuka Girl, we have Pablo, we have the janitor, we have Mama Murphy, and we have the Nuka Handy. The only change is that I kept the army helmet from last game, and I've given that to Nuka Girl. She's wearing an army helmet, so she's very a la tank girl at the moment. That's how I'm picturing her. And now I go through the setup, the pre-game, using the special abilities. So for Sturges, who is Pablo, he can choose 3 mods, weapon mods, and select 2 of them to put onto unmodded weapons. So as you can see, I've randomly chosen a line sight, silence, and a long barrel. I have kept the long barrel and a line sights. And for Mama Murphy, she gets to start the game with 2 chems, and I drew orange mentats and buff out. And lastly, Mama Murphy also has 3 points that she can spend at the beginning, or after everything's been set up, that she can use to do certain abilities. I'm using those 3 points to look at 6 item tokens, so it gives me a bit of a bonus in regards to knowing where the dangerous ones are, or the blank ones, hopefully, and where the juicy items are. Nuka Girl goes first and moves twice, and I've put her down the side there thinking I'd do some sort of flanking maneuver to get her around to the side and upstairs. She's fast. Unfortunately, Nuka Girl's spotted, and a ghoul races across to intercept her, showing a little bit more courage than she really should against ghouls. Mama Murphy moves up to at least distract them. Next, the red roach, drawn by either the movement of the ghoul or of Nuka Girl, charges out of the crater towards the action. I'm not sure if this is what Nuka Girl was envisioning when she came charging down the side. She's now facing off against a ghoul and a red roach. What better way to cause another diversion than to charge into battle on the other side of the battlefield? Nuka Handy races towards a ghoul hiding behind a derelict car, taking a green die for the charge. This has not gone unnoticed. Well, the distraction was successful. It's not gone unnoticed by another ghoul who charges into the combat, rolling an 8. Luckily, the 2 green die gives them a -6. They took a black die for the charge, as you can see the token there. So they were doing 3 points of damage. Nuka Handy unfortunately rolled a 4 and so took all 3 points of damage. The janitor, seeing Nuka Handy in dire straits, fires into the combat. Thanks to the mod that he has, he's able to select his target, rolling a critical or with a cog, so it's a quick action. The rifle, the anti-materia rifle, also gives an armor break and does a base of 3 damage. So all 3 damage goes through to the ghoul, no saves. Then realizing that his mistress Nuka Girl is in trouble, he moves across to hopefully assist in the next round. Next up, it's Red Roach upstairs, who seems to be oblivious to what's happening outside and just scuttles around, keeping the upstairs floor nice and clean. Lastly, for the survivors is Pablo, and he steps forward from behind cover and shoots into the melee, hoping to kill the already wounded ghoul. Thankfully, he doesn't hit Nuka Handy, but hits the other ghoul instead for 2 points of damage. The ghoul that was just hit has its activation and attacks Nuka Handy, and misses on the first attack, getting a big fail there on the with an X. Hits with a quick action on the second attack, but Mr. Handy manages to block that attack. The janitor takes advantage of that and uses his quick action to move a little closer to Nuka Girl. Now all that's left is to move the remaining AI forces. The ghoul in the back there unfortunately failed its perception test, and so just meanders around, looking at the ground and not doing much at all. Enraged at the disturbance, the bloated glowing one, Vincent Jones, comes storming out of the house. Likewise, another feral ghoul, hearing the disturbance, also charges towards it. Lastly, the feral ghoul, playing in the backyard, is too busy kicking the ball around and doesn't hear anything. So moving into turn 2, we draw an event card and we get gusts of wind. The sudden shift in wind direction is hard to predict. The scatter distance for thrown weapons is doubled. Nuka Handy, covered in ghoul guts and bile, swings wildly twice, missing both times. Yet another ghoul charges into Nuka Handy, rolling a 6 and getting a -3 on the green dice. He took a extra green die for the charge, and Nuka Handy fails his armors check, so that's another 2 points. Pablo, seeing Nuka Handy in dire straits, fires into the melee, rolling a 4 with an armor break on the first, hitting the ghoul who fails their armor check, and striking again, needing an 8. There was a +2 -2 there, shooting into a melee plus the cover, So got an 8 with 2 armor break, and the ghoul rolled a 4. That kills one of the ghouls. The red roach swarm gets a move on the blue die, so I've moved them away, but I just felt they're hungry, so I actually rolled a second time on their second action, and they got to charge. On his way to help Nuka Girl, the janitor sees that Nuka Handy's in trouble and stops and fires, killing another ghoul, and then continuing on. The girl is still blissfully unaware of the combat taking place at the front of the house. Nuka Girl's got no time for red roaches. She skips past it. The red roach attacks but misses the big fat X. Stopping at the first item, she hacks the computer and gets a baseball grenade, and with her second action she finds another computer which she hacks and gets a biometric scanner. And just to clarify, the purple D20s that you're seeing there is I'm rolling on the chart in the Commonwealth book for all the items that I get. Next it's the ghoul's turn. It takes a black for the charge. Seeing the brightly coloured female whiz past it, it turns and charges and rolls a 10, and it's a big miss.
Mama Murphy's as good as her word, kid. No more chems.
Having said that, Mama Murphy takes a buff out and then, perhaps unwisely, moves forward. The 2 red roaches swarms upstairs in the house continue just to skitter around and do nothing. The remaining AI have their turn. Vincent Jones, the bloated, glowing one, charges Nuka Handy. A red roach moves out of the rubble and charges Nuka Girl, taking a green for the charge. Vincent had taken a black for the charge, and the remaining ghoul on Nuka Handy actually missed twice. Unfortunately, it appears that I didn't take photos of that, but he actually missed twice. Turn 3, and the next event card is Distant Gunfire. Shots can be heard in the distance. Maybe a group is hunting the Brahmin that frequent the area. Maybe it's trouble. Nuka Handy, seeing that he's got Vincent Jones and another ghoul on him, activates first, going for the ghoul, gets a 5 and hits with a double armor break, so 2 points go through, and on his second attack, hits again, and the ghoul rolls a 1, so blocks some of that attack. The ghoul in the backyard finally realizes there's something going on out the front and charges out to investigate. Pablo, needing 10 to hit the ghoul, rolls a 10. That's 8 for his skill, and that's with a comfort grip and also the specialty with his revolver, and +2 for shooting into combat. And the ghoul rolls a 1, blocks 1 point of damage, but only have 1 left, and he kills it. Then with his second action, he cautiously moves forward. The red roach attacking Nuka Girl goes next. It rolls 2 green die, 1 for the charge and 1 for outnumbering, and rolls a 6 and hits with the -3, and Nuka Girl rolls a 1, and she has the strong armor, and that negates that attack, and for its second attack, it rolls a 3 with an extra damage. Nuka Girl rolls a 3 on her defense and blocks that, remembering that she, pardon me, has the army helmet, so her armor goes up to 3. Then Mama Murphy, his turn is next. She's up and she is going to make a run for the house. The chem's obviously still affecting her head, and she makes a double move towards the house there. The other ghoul down the side of the house finally notices what's going on out the front and double moves to the front to investigate. The janitor moves next, and he's got a tree blocking his line of sight. He wants to shoot the red roach that's on Nuka Girl, so he moves across and then fires at the red roach because he can hit it due to the special mod card that he has. So he rolls a cog and 2 armor break and an extra damage, so that is 3 armor break and 4 damage, which kills the red roach. Vincent Jones, the bloated glowing one, is up next. He rolls a X and a cog, but that is a miss, thankfully. Unfortunately, on his second attack, he rolls a crit with an armor break, and Nuka Handy unfortunately just rolls a 1 there, and that kills Nuka Handy. Well, takes him out of the game, doesn't kill him, he'll be back. Yeah, poor Mr. Nuka Handy. The janitor has a quick action, and he moves a little closer towards the bloated glowing one. I think he wants to get some revenge there. Nuka Girl is next, and she escapes out of combat. Seeing that there's another ghoul coming towards her, she makes a dash for it towards the house. The ghoul gets a quick action swipe at her, rolling an 8, and that misses. She then hits the item, well, she sees an item in the rubble there, which she picks up, and it's a combat shotgun. And feeling like she's got plenty of time to get up to the terminal, she makes another dash towards another item that she can see in the distance there. Unfortunately, it's also a danger, which she draws unusual noises, which is to draw and resolve a creature card. The creature card she's drawn is the red roach nest. The red roach nest. You've disturbed the red roach nest, but if you hold still, they'll ignore you. So the options there are lose any remaining action points and reactions to remain still, and that way they don't notice you, or I can resolve an attack. Well, that was her second action anyway, so she remains still and doesn't get attacked. And the item I've picked up is Myloke meat. The ghoul that Nuka Girl escaped from is a little bit confused, and it moves off towards the house thinking that's where she's gone. Then again, I've been rolling the random die, AI die, on the second after a move, and this time it sees her and charges towards her, taking up a green die, a green token. Amazingly, the 2 red roach swarms upstairs have still not noticed anything, and they continue to skitter around the bedroom. This red roach swarm actually gets a move random again, and basically, as you can see, flipped, and it's heading off the table. So they've run off the table, so they've actually left combat. And and won't be coming back on. So looking at the end of turn, we can see that the Vincent Jones, the bloated glowing one, has choice of targets. They're all running towards the house, and Nuka Girl is engaged and has another girl looking like it's going to charge in at her, but she's not too far away from being able to get upstairs there and get to the terminal. So we're not in too bad position. And we draw the turn for event, which is downpour. A short downpour leaves surfaces slippery. Climbing tests, agility at -2 penalty. I activate Mama Murphy first, fearing that she may get attacked by the bloated glowing one, and she moves forward and picks up an item, and unfortunately a danger, and the danger is Spore Carrier Hand. Accidentally brushing against something, it starts to fall to the ground. You realise it's a severed Spore Carrier's hand. Either catch it and gain a stun, or let it hit the ground, and a puff of spore flies out. Test endurance. Mama Murphy's endurance is rubbish, so I have taken the stun. The red roach upstairs turn is next, and again it does not sense anything and just continues to run around the bedroom. It's Pablo's turn next, and he fires at the bloated glowing one, requiring an 8. Sorry, I apologise. His skill is 8, so he hits with a -1, so 7. The bloated glowing one rolls a 3 and takes a point of damage. And his second attack, Pablo rolls a 9 with a double armor break, but that is a miss. In response, the bloated glowing one charges Pablo, getting a cog, and it gets an extra black there for the charge. And Pablo rolls a 2 and he takes some radiation damage. The janitor's turn is next, and he takes a short step back and fires into the combat. His ability is 6, but his firing into the combat makes it 8. He rolls a 10 but gets a -4 on the dice, and the green and yellow die there, so taking it down to 6, so that's a hit. The anti-material rifle has 3 damage and 1 armor break as its base, so it's 4 damage and 1 armor break. The bloated glowing one stops 1 damage, taking the rest. Next up, it's the red roach, another red roach upstairs, and as is typical, it does not pick up anything, so he's just wandering around. Nuka Girl decides it's time that she get upstairs and try to hack that computer. She jumps out of combat. The ghoul does a quick attack and successfully hits. Nuka Girl tries to flip a luck to see if she can avoid the attack, and fails, and so is forced to roll a die, which she rolls a 1, and so she takes a point of damage. She makes it upstairs, and not being engaged, barely, she attempts to hack the computer, and she is successful. The computer lets her know the passcode, or she's hoping that that was it, but it spits out a passcode and tells her that there's a safe in the building which needs to be opened with that passcode, and that will provide the password for the computer, so she can get the next clue to the mystery of the items that they're required to save their vault. The ghoul that she's run away from, it activates next and it runs up after her. Now that all the nuclear settlers have had their turn, the next one is another ghoul, and it gets to move randomly. It thinks there's something interesting over in that direction. Then when it gets there, seeing that there actually wasn't anything interesting there after all, it heads back towards the smooth skins. Then there's the other ghoul. It is also chasing after Nuka Girl and is running up the stairs after her. And that ends turn 4. Turn 5. And the next event card is Sun Glare. The low sun makes it hard to judge a shot accurately. All shoot action skills at long range are at a -2 penalty. Oh great. Pablo goes first, and he's making a run for the safe. It's over difficult terrain, so it's reduced to an orange. The ghoul that is engaged with him gets a quick action attack. Would normally hit on a 6, but the quick action makes it a 4. They get a 5, so Pablo escapes. Pablo hacks. Sorry, he doesn't hack. He picks the lock on the safe, and he not only gets the passcode for the computer, but he also finds a gamma gun. That's a nice weapon to have. Next, the ghoul on Nuka Girl attacks, rolling a 10. With -2, that's still a miss. And for the second attack, it hits with an armor break, and Nuka Girl rolls a 4. So she actually takes 2 points of damage. Nuka Girl strikes back but rolls an X, so it's a big miss. And using Mama Murphy's ability, which I've done wrong again in hindsight, she is able to re-roll, but you're not supposed to be able to do the same action the second time, and I did in this case, so I'll learn one of these days. So she does roll again, and she rolls a 6 with an armor break and hits with an extra damage. And then she strikes again, getting a crit, doing a nice hefty amount of damage there, and that kills one of the red roach swarms. The other red roach swarm attacks Nuka Girl, rolling a 7, and luckily that is a miss. And with their second attack, rolls an X with a quick action, so no luck there. The janitor, facing down the Vincent Jones, the bloated glowing one, he takes a shot and in his panic misses with a quick action. Then he hightails it out of there behind some cover, hoping that the bloated glowing one won't follow him. But unfortunately for him, the bloated glowing one has eyes only for the janitor and pursues him and catches him behind the tower there. It doesn't take a psychic to know that when you're that close to a feral ghoul, you're going to get attacked. So Mama Murphy actually takes the initiative there, and she charges in, but rolls a big fat X, so she misses. The ghoul accommodates her and strikes back, and it rolls a big X. So it misses on its first strike, but unfortunately for Mama Murphy, hits on the second, and she takes all the damage there. And that was the last move for turn 5, and we're moving into turn 6. And moving into the last turn, turn 6, the event card is a neutral party. Someone new has entered the battlefield. Add a searchable yellow in from halfway along the shortest edge of the battlefield. Draw a stranger card. If unengaged at the end of the round, move yellow in a random direction. And the stranger card is Powder Ganger. I've got the dynamite, but no matches. Wanna assist? So Pablo activates first, and he needs it's at a -2 because the combat is in cover because he's shooting upstairs, but he's shooting into combat, so that is a +2, so they cancel each other out. He rolls a 4 with double armor break, and the ghoul takes that damage. And he fires in again with a critical and an armor break. That kills the ghoul that's engaged with Nuka Girl. The ghoul activates next, and it hits Mama Murphy twice. First with a critical hit, then with a cog for a quick action. Both with armor breaks. Mama Murphy is luckily probably drugged up, so she doesn't really feel the pain. Activating Nuka Girl next. She crits the Red Roach, which kills it, and then with her final turn, she hacks the computer and actually rolls an 8. She needed less than that, but I flipped a luck, and that gave her a -2, so 6, which was successful in hacking the computer with the final password, which Pablo had yelled out to her from downstairs, and that was finishing the game. So that was a major victory for the settlers. They only lost Nuka Handy, but they were very close to losing Mama Murphy. She was heavily irradiated and luckily probably dosed up enough to not feel that, and also the janitor was being chased by an uninjured Vincent Jones, the bloated glowing one. Now that they have the next piece of the puzzle, and they know that Nuka Cola's arch rivals Vim are behind the theft, Nuka Girl and her team decide to head back to New Nuka to recuperate and make their next plans for finding their missing parts to the vault. So the next battle, which I've already done, is actually going to be, I've used my phone camera, and which is what all these photos are from on these, but I've actually videoed it. So it'll be my first attempt at videoing a battle report, again using a camera from a phone, so nothing professional. So I'm hoping it turns out alright. So yeah, looking forward to editing that and posting up, and hopefully people watch it and maybe give me some feedback. Thank you. Thanks for watching this, and I do appreciate if anyone can leave some feedback and let me know if there's things I've missed or any hints and tips on how to do this